And welcome to the latest installment of the FHM Birth of the Bolt series. I'm Big Paulie coming to you this April 5, 2021. And let's get you to the game. And look at the transformation the Lightning have made in January. When we played out the last part of this series, we went 4-1 in the first 5 games of July. We have now moved up to 10th place in the Eastern Conference with Philadelphia and Washington in front of us. 47 points. 47 points as the Lightning have been on a tear, or continued that tear as I simmed out January of 1994. We played the first 5 games. And they won 4 of those. Then they lost 3-0 to the Rangers. Here's what happened after that we just simmed out. A 1-1 tie with Detroit. A 4-1 win over Chicago. Then we went to Winnipeg, won 5-4. Then we lost to Detroit 3-0. But then we beat the Islanders 5-4, Buffalo 3-0. Florida's been giving us trouble most of the early part of the 93-94 season with a 2-0 win there. And then we beat San Jose 3-2. So the Lightning are on a tear as we begin February of 1994. And maybe with a little bit of luck, we make the playoffs. We're 10th in the conference and beat what the real life Lightning did, making the playoffs in year number 4. So we'll get started with our first of 5 games. We'll do as many games as we can in an hour. We're at a minute 45 right now. But let's get right to it. As this time the Lightning are playing Detroit at home, and Detroit just beat them 3-0 in the sim timing a couple of weeks ago. So we're going to just line up and get this started. Osgood in goal for Detroit. 29 wins and 3 shutouts. Tugnut, our backup goalie. Well, actually, either goalie is good for the Lightning. He has 10 wins, 2 shutouts, and his save percentage is higher. Yzerman, 21 goals, 50 assists. Bradley, 15 goals, 18 assists. And I'm very curious to see how this goes. It was January 17 of 94. Detroit beat the Lightning in this sim 3-0. And before that, in January 12th, they played to a 1-1 tie. So let's play this one out. And the Lightning are red hot. This was probably the best month they have had in the series that I have been doing with the Lightning, taking them from 93-94. But they're not off to a good start in this game. Ricky, interference, and the Red Wings have a very lethal power play at over like 22-23%. But probably the best month the Lightning has had by far in their simulated franchise that I have been playing out. In this, the 13th video of that. Lightning could not get killed off the power play, but now a scoring chance here for the Lightning. No, it goes to Detroit. Detroit with it. And they get the first goal of the game at the Thunderdome. It's Cicerelli assisted by Konstantinov and Lindstrom, and it's 1-0 Red Wings. They have all 7 shots so far in the first 5 minutes of this first period. Gotta think the Lightning will cool down after being red hot in January of 94, but they are showing progress, and that's the most important thing. And after this game, I'll read you the board update. I'm sure they'll give me a vote of confidence after how well they played this month. But it's 2-0 in this game as Cicerelli has scored. Mark Howe and Sergei Fedorov. Mark Howe was in the first historical sim I did in FHM 6 with the 79 Hartford Whalers, and moving forward, a goal back. This is Mike Hartman assisted by Hammerleck. 2-1 now Detroit, so the Lightning on the Cadillac board. This is the second year of the Lightning, so that's why you saw what is now Tropicana Field, because the Lightning were using the Thunderdome, as it was then called, and they could seat 30,000 or so for a hockey game. Nobody had ever thought of the idea before Tampa did of putting games in the domes. Keith Primu called for goaltender interference, so Tampa Bay will go on a power play and try to equalize the game. We have 6:30 now left first period. A high sticking by Steve Yzerman. 2 in the box now for Detroit, giving the Lightning a 5-on-3. Let's see if they can make some hay out of this. Shots are shrunk now down to 12-10. Lightning with a scoring chance, and it's Bradley, and we're tied 2-2. So Tampa Bay standing and delivering. I have Edward James Olmos on my brain, obviously. Under 4 to go, first period. And Kenny Hodge gets called for hooking, so Detroit now on the power play. Good ebb and flow in this game. A wild first period. Shots are 14-12. And the Lightning have it. Can they go up 3-2 before the period ends? They do! Bradley, assisted by DeMaio and Hammerlick, 3-2. What a comeback in this first period for the Lightning. Of course, in real life, yesterday the Red Wings hammered the Tampa Bay Lightning 5-1 in a game that was not good for the Lightning. They're a little off of their 2020 pace, but I think they will still make a very good playoff run. Could they win the Stanley Cup again? Yes, they could, because they're still in the argument, but they're in the same division with the team they played in the Stanley Cup last year and beat them. And I think Dallas has only won 1 game in all the meetings between those two teams, the Lightning and Dallas, in 2021. Back to this game, it's 3-2 Tampa Bay leading, hooking against Adam Creighton. So Detroit on the power play. As this game continues to go back and forth. Halfway through the power play, it is Richard Krong called for roughing. Detroit will have a 5-on-3 for 50 seconds and a 5-on-4 for a minute 20. Actually, no, it was a minute 10. 1 penalty killed for Tampa Bay, who leads 3-2, and there goes the other. So nice penalty killing here for the Lightning. They trail on shots right now, 19-15. Bradley continues to play well for the Lightning. He's up his game rating right now, 70. I'm seeing here, he has just gone back in for a shift. Crossman playing well, as well. I said as well twice. Tampa Bay now giving up a few shots. It's 22-15. Crossman at 64. Bradley at 70 still. Everybody else, high 50s. And these are no slouches Tampa Bay is playing in Detroit. Detroit had some good teams in the 90s. Under 6 now, second period, still 3-2 Tampa Bay. Somebody call the rock band Santana, because the Lightning, they just keep winning. Or Charlie Sheen. Now Tampa Bay on a shot run. They have crept the shot margin down to 22-20. Scoring chance here for the Lightning. Over to Detroit. Back to the Lightning. Back to the Lightning. Detroit with it. Detroit still with it. Now Tampa Bay with it. And now Detroit with it. So they're really teasing me on who's going to score the goal here. If Detroit scores, we're at 3-3. If Tampa Bay scores, it's 4-2. And the latter occurs. Rob DeMaio assisted by Zomner. 4 unanswered for Tampa Bay in this first game. We think 5 will be able to do. And the score is 4-2. Favor of Tampa Bay, who is up until January, they were the last place team in the Eastern Conference. Were fighting for last place. Last few seconds of the second period, Sean Burr called for tripping, so the Lightning will have a power play for a minute 57. At the start of the third period, they lead 4-2, even though they are being outshot 22-21. But luck with the Lightning right now, which is never bad. And let's see. Racine called for interference. So now 5-on-3 for 50 seconds and a 5-on-4 beyond that. Yves Racine, one of the great names in hockey. Okay, Tampa Bay could not convert on the power play. That's still a little weak spot for them. Can they get 5 in a row? They do. Bergquist, assisted by Recchi, and it's 5-2 Lightning. Warner Wolf just called and say, "Hey folks, the Lightning are for real." Remembering a few of his lines from Rocky 4. Okay, 14:20 now left. Lightning going to score their 6th in a row here? No, Detroit gets a goal back. It's 5-3, and it's Cicerelli again. I think he has a hat trick. Yes, he does. A hat trick for Cicerelli, 5-3 in favor of Tampa Bay. Warner Wolf. I read his autobiography in elementary school, if you could believe that. And my mom would go to New York in the summertime, 80, 81, 82, and my relatives would show me WCBS. Lightning score again. Veritsky assisted by AstraZeneca and Hammerlick, 6-3. So my relatives would watch the news, and they'd always watch WCBS, Channel 2. And they were like, "PJ, I know you're a sports fan, you young man. You got to see Warner Wolf." And that's how I knew of Warner Wolf. As a 10-year-old, living in Tampa, visiting New York in the summertime. Detroit gets a goal back. Marchant, assisted by Sillinger, so Cicerelli did not score here. 6-4. Crossman and Chason, Crossman at Tampa Bay, Chason for Detroit, have Big Paulie's Fight Night in FHM. Check out that new series. We just started that using Glory Days Boxing, slashing Yzerman. Already have 3 fights up. Yzerman, of course, right now is an executive with the Tampa Bay Lightning, but right now he's with Detroit. And that was a double minor. So the Lightning with a big power play opportunity here, and both wind up expiring. 30-28 is the shot total, so it's been an active game. (6-4) Tampa Bay. As I say, they could make the playoffs their second year in this sim, and in real life they didn't make the playoffs until year number 4, 95-96. Lightning score again. Bergquist this time. Chris Osgood still in goal, even though he has surrendered 7. 3:12 left. 7-4 Tampa Bay. Incredible performance for them tonight. We have 2 minutes left, so they might not be done scoring. If Detroit's feeling a little froggy and they want to pull the goalie, they do not. A minute to go. 36-29 on shots, and Tampa Bay is going to win again. Detroit got the first 2 goals, but Tampa Bay poured it on the rest of the way. A 7-4 win for the Lightning. 3 stars of the game: Bergquist, Hammerlick, and Hartman. Cicerelli did not even get a star, even though he got a hat trick. Shots wound up being 36-29, and the Lightning win again, 7-4. So in the last 6 games we have shown you, we're 5-1. So we'll look at the news from the 4th. Koser suspended the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim for last night's game. He's going to miss 1. Bure, his point streak now 12, as he got 3 assists as the Canucks beat the Mighty Ducks 4-1. Jeff Courtnall of the Canucks also extending his point streak. It's at 14. Alexei Yashim with a streak of 5 games where he has scored a goal for Ottawa, but they lost to New Jersey 6-3. And Jeremy Roenick is going to stay with Chicago. As he has signed a 2-year contract. So now we go on to Washington and we play another game. Right now, the Lightning are almost at 500. They're at 20, 22, 25, and 5, and they have 49 points on January 5th. So they have exceeded expectations, at least in terms of this season. It's going to be Tugnut in goal against Don Beaupre, another goalie, which we are familiar with the Hartford Whalers sim that I did in FHM 6. Let's drop the puck and play this one out. Look at the Lightning go here, but they're up at the Cap Center. And I think we had this matchup last month as well. So the headlines of the sporting world, March 5th, but hold on, we got a goal, and it goes to the Caps. Sergei Gonchar, assisted by Damphus and Anderson, 1-0 Caps. Of course, tonight is the big national championship tournament. Damphus commits a penalty, and the Lightning will go on a power play. We have Gonzaga trying to go undefeated, which hasn't happened in the NCAA since Indiana did it in '76. They have Baylor tonight. Of course, everybody is still talking about the great Gonzaga-UCLA game. UCLA came in a heavy underdog. Looked like they were going to be tied after overtime, but Jalen Suggs hit a 40-foot bomb to win it for Gonzaga at the end of the first OT. Baylor had a much easier time with Houston, so it'll be Baylor and Gonzaga going at it tonight. I gotta think Gonzaga will win that one. The Rays have started out 2-1. They won the first 2 games down in Miami, and then they lost the third one 12-7. They are in Boston tonight at Fenway Park. Odd to see the Red Sox playing games very early in their season at night, and they're going to play again tomorrow night in Boston. You'd think the weather would not be suitable for night games, and they would try to get the games in the middle of the day, but not to be. Lightning are out shooting Washington 6-1, but that one shot was a goal. Boarding against Brian Bradley, so the Lightning will be shorthanded, and the Caps give up a penalty just almost immediately. Only took 2 seconds after Tampa Bay picked up their penalty, and Washington picks up theirs, so they'll be even strength for a minute 58, and Tampa Bay will have a 2-second power play. If you're on Social Security and you haven't gotten your stimulus yet, you will get your stimulus Wednesday. I know that is true in my situation and the parent that I look after. Roughing against Rob Zaminer. So Washington will be on the power play after this power play ends, and then the clock is malfunctioning on the penalty timer for Washington. Tampa Bay's is working fine, and they have killed their power play now. 7-3 in favor of Tampa Bay. Now it's down to 7-5. 40, 30, 20. 10 seconds, and that's it. Go to the second period. 1-0 in favor of the Caps. And we have goaltender interference against Calle Johansson. Tampa Bay back on the power play for 2 minutes. Looking like the schedule for me for tomorrow will be to do an episode of OOTP when we're probably going to do another fight. Really enjoying the Glory Days boxing game. First time we have done card and dice on my channel, and might not be the last time. We're a quarter of the way through the second period. It's still 1-0 Washington. There is an app for Glory Days, which which is good because when I bought dice for the game, I bought and it made the mistake of buying them all in the same color. So I've been using the app for Glory Days on my iPhone. I used that for the second boarding again against Brian Bradley. So the second night of fights that I did, I used the iPhone, and the iPhone worked way better. And I've also been working on setups, trying to find a setup so you could see what I'm doing, and that hasn't worked out as well as I would have liked. We're already midway through the second period of this second game. On a pace to do 5 for you, and then we will sim out February and then come back at you next week with March. 7.5 left, 12-8 on shots, but the Caps have the lone goal right now. Looking like Riki is playing the best at the moment at 64. Of course, Bradley has committed 2 penalties, which we don't usually see out of him. Usually likes to stay out of the penalty box, and it was a couple of boarding penalties. So he didn't learn from his mistake the first time. Oops, as I dropped my phone. And Mike Ridley called for slashing, so Tampa Bay, another scoring chance for them. As I look through the news, not seeing anything outstanding. Timothy Berdovich, thank you for subscribing to my channel. I just see that now. Bergevin called for slashing. Washington now gets a power play. And we end the second period. It is still a 0 in favor of the Caps. Don't know the exact tally of subscribers I have, but I think I am somewhere around 110. So this is a critical goal here. Either Washington will take a 2-0 lead or the Lightning will tie it. After what they did to Detroit, I think the Lightning are going to have an off night. Damphousse again. Miller with the assist. 2-0. But still plenty of time for the Lightning to get back in the argument for this game. We're still ahead on shots, 18-13. The Fates just haven't been kind to them in terms of goals given up and the lack of goals being scored. Speak of the devil, and I don't mean New Jersey, Jonas Bergquist scores 2-1. Hammerlick and Hartman on the assist. So, again, next goal here will be critical. Gonchar for Washington gets a penalty. Tampa Bay on the power play, so their odds increase that they could get a tie here. Game number 2, we're going to play 5 out. And this is as hot as Tampa Bay has been in the series. So it's now 23 shots to 14 in favor of Tampa Bay. Now 23-15. Yastrazenekev boarding call. So boarding seems to be the penalty of choice here for the Lightning. 12 minutes to go, third period. Still time for the Lightning to get back in the game, but it looks like the Caps have a scoring chance to make it 3-1, and they do. Cote past Tugnut and Pavanka on the assist. So 3-1. Does not appear to be the Lightning's night, although still 10 minutes is plenty of time. Some guys playing well. Interference against Trolloff. Tampa Bay with another chance to get a goal here to get one closer. Bradley with a good game. Zamner with a good game. Hammerlick with a good game. And the power play expires, and it's now even strength again, under 7 minutes to go. 3-1 Caps. And this is one of the teams that Tampa Bay right now looks like they're going to have to leapfrog over to make the playoffs in 1994. 28 shots to 20, and the season doesn't end until April. So there's going to be a lot of time for the Lightning to get back in it. 3.5 to go. Two minutes to go. And this is going to be one that gets away from the Lightning. Crossman, 2 minutes for hooking. That should seal the Lightning's fate in this one, because they'd have to pull their goalie to have even strength. And under 30 seconds to go, a wasted opportunity here for the Lightning. They outshot the Caps 32-22, but they lose 3-1. Damphus, Hammerlick, and Gonchar were the stars of the game. And Cote did get that goal. Final shot total was 32-22 Tampa Bay. And we will move on to our next game. And the email is making an error. Trying to see. I did not get a board of confidence update is one that I wanted to show you. Kubo thinks that this season has progressed decently so far, but the team needs to maintain this performance in order to achieve the goal. 8-2-1 was what the Lightning were in January, so I wanted to share that with you. Howardchuk, 1,000 games played, but he played a 3-3 tie with one of the New York teams. New York Islanders. Okay. Koser's suspension ends. Bure's point streak 15. Courtnall, his point streak is 15. Bure's is at 13. And I feel like I'm in The Sound of Music all of a sudden. Again, standings-wise, we're just going to show you the conferences again. Tampa Bay still 10th in the playoff race. Regular season ending in April. So back to the standings for a moment. We go up to Maple Leaf Gardens and play the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's going to be Tugnut and Fuhr in goal. Tugnut has the better save percentage. Fuhr at .893. And it's going to be Bradley and Gilmore, the top guns for each team. We'll drop the puck and play game number 3 of this 5-game block that I'm going to show you. And it's still looking like we'll get 5 games in. Tampa Bay with the first 2 shots. Delay a game, Brian Bradley. Bradley's picking up a lot of penalties as of late, which is not like him. 17 minutes. I am kind of wondering how well Tampa Bay did in 93-94. Interference against Larionov. Toronto will get the power play. Okay. Tampa Bay in 93-94 in real life, as I look up hockey reference, they went, let me see here. They had 71 points. They played 84 games and got 71 points. And they were 7th in the Atlantic Division. So we're doing way better than the real-life 93-94 Bolts. Who scores the first goal? It's the Maple Leafs. Joe Sacco, assisted by Mironov and Sameta. So maybe the Lightning have fallen back to earth a little bit, losing our second game that we have just shown you to the Caps, and trailing in this one 1-0 in Toronto to Toronto. So they played 84 games in the regular season in 19 and 93 and 94. My best Johnny Carson, I did not know that. So 6 minutes to go. Fighting, we had Posacek and Hartman duking it out. Posacek in real life would wind up with the Florida Panthers, just like Martin St. Louis, who would play for the Lightning, wound up with the Panthers in the sim. Wendell Clark called for tripping Tampa Bay with a power play situation. In fact, it's going to be 5-on-3, but actually that first number that's ticking down at about 2:30 doesn't count because that was 5 minutes for fighting, I think. Closing in on the end of the first period. Teams at even strength now. Shots 10-3 in favor of Toronto. So if you were scoring it like you would score a boxing match, I think the Toronto is well on their way to winning the first quarter, barring a goal late, which Tampa Bay does not get. 1-0, we go to the second. So this good fortune for the Lightning has continued, although they have cooled down a little bit as February has begun. They beat Detroit after surrendering 2 goals. But Tampa Bay just can't get anything going here on the shot total. They have 5 in just the second period. So now, can the Lightning tie it? They do. Ramage does damage, and Creighton and Bergquist assist. And we're tied at a goal each. That's the Lightning that we have come to see as of late. So I would love to see the Lightning either make the playoffs in either their second year or their third and beat out what they did in real life. They won 30 games in the real life 93-94, and they're almost there now. Of course, they probably feasted on that home cooking expansion got them with Florida coming into the league with Anaheim. 8 minutes left. Second period, shots are 20-12 in favor of Toronto. I was listening to talk radio around this time because I was a fan of the late great Bob Lassiter, and he was on a station Neil Rogers out of Miami was out of when he was on with WIOD, and Rogers was a very avid Toronto Maple Leafs fan. And if the Leafs came to Tampa to play, this was before the Panthers came to be, the year before when Tampa was playing in the barn that was the Florida State Fairgrounds. Neil would go up to the games, and they would have him on with Lassiter. WSUN was based out of the Gateway area of St. Pete, and they would do shows together so that Neil could watch the Maple Leafs play Tampa. We have played the second period. It's 1-1, but Neil, I think, would become a season ticket holder of the Panthers. Neil died sometime in the early 2010s, and he eventually did his show on remote from Toronto and would visit some of the slot. He would visit the racetracks, and the racetracks in Toronto also had slots. Gilmore has put the Lightning up 2-1. I'm sorry, has put the Maple Leafs up 2-1. AstraZeneca have a bruised neck. That's not good. So that could be very telling. Third period, Toronto leading 2-1. And if you want to ever listen to Bob Lassiter, if you're in the Tampa Bay area, or Neil Rogers, and find out more about those two, they are on YouTube all over the place. I worked in radio with a gentleman by the name of Stan Major, who is a top talker many places across the country, including Miami. And he seemed to always have a show on after Neil's show. And And I got to work with Stan before I really even realized who Stan Major was. 13 minutes left to go. Down to 12. It's 33-23 on shots and 34-23. And Toronto going to give their Lightning their second loss in a row, which would put Tampa Bay 1-2 in February. Toronto's still piling up the shots, but Tampa Bay's only down a goal. Bradley called for interference. He picks up another penalty. So Toronto on the power play. They get a power play goal here. It might be lights out for Tampa Bay. And it might just be. Ellett scores, assisted by Gilmore, past Tugnut, 3-1 Toronto. So after feeling confident about how well Tampa Bay has been playing, they're about to lose 2 in a row unless they really get busy in the next 6 minutes. Bergevin playing the best game for the Lightning. His game rating is 80 right now, and he's by far the best. Bradley has 70. Lefebvre called for tripping. Tampa Bay will have a power play to try to cut it to a goal. Under 4 now left in the third. I've been watching a lot of Netflix lately. I watched Glow. I'm watching now Ozark. Very good little TV show. Wendell Clark called for holding. So now, if they pull their goalie, Tampa Bay could have a 6-on-4. But they're not pulling their goalie. Cross-checking against Posacek for Toronto. So now, it's 6-on-3. Can the Lightning get a goal in the last few seconds? McCoon called for tripping. Come on, Lightning. You could get it something here. And they do not. It's 3-1. Detroit, 39 shots to 27. The 3 stars, Gilmore, Ramage of Tampa, and Joe Sacco of Toronto. Not seeing any milestones. So now the Lightning fall to 22, 27, and 5. And we'll play out the rest of these games, and we'll go to our next game with 37 minutes gone by. So let's see, it's February 10th. Let's look at the highlights. Pavel Bure and Courtnall streaks end. Presley suspended for Detroit. Wayne Presley. He plays for Buffalo, right winger. Sakic hurt. He will play day-to-day for the Quebec Nordiques. Eddie Belfour out for Chicago. And Leaf Rowland plays a great game in the Olympics, the 1994 Olympics going on, and the pros are not a part of this Olympics. And they beat Slovakia 5-4, and he scored 4 assists for the Swedes. Nicely done. So in the NHL, we now go back to Ottawa, and they will play the Ottawa Senators, and that might just be what the doctor ordered for the Lightning, as they are still at 49 points, and they are still 10th in the Eastern Conference. Let's go play Ottawa before Ottawa changes their minds. Let's leave the game for a moment. Because we have a couple of injuries, I want the AI to set up the organization. Thank you very much. Now we'll play Ottawa. Continue. Play the game. It's Guy Herbert in goal for Ottawa against Tugnut. Tugnut 915 and Herbert 902. Yashin 30 goals, 14 assists in 51 games. So he's been lighting it up. And this is one Tampa Bay you would think needs. In the capital of the great nation of Canada. A shot each. Early going of this first period. And it's cross-checking against Jody Hull. So Tampa Bay in their 12% power play, they'll get a crack at it here for the next 2 minutes. Tripping against Romer Hammerlich, so Tampa Bay gives up the manpower advantage very quickly. 3-1 in favor of Tampa, holding by Mike Hartman. So now it's 2 in the box for the Lightning and 1 in the box for Ottawa. And who gets the first score here? Action end to end. Ottawa with it now. And they will get the first goal. Petrenko, assisted by Yashin, 1-0 Senators. So this would be a revolting development for the Lightning if they lose 3 in a row and they lose that third in a row to expansion Ottawa. 14 minutes now. First period, shots are 3-2. Of course, expansion teams got way better when the Las Vegas Golden Knights came into the league. Of course, they almost won the Stanley Cup their first year against Washington. That's something you rarely see in sports, at least major professional sports in North America. Tripping against Crom, Ottawa with a power play. Shots are 3-3. But Las Vegas, the expansion draft, they did very well, getting Fleury. Sylvain Turgeon puts Tampa back in a power play situation. They'll go 4-on-4. And then Tampa will get a delayed power play, but Joe Rickey reeks all that up. 2 in the box for Tampa Bay and 1 in the box for Ottawa. You put any more in the penalty box for either team, they're going to have to start a homeowners association. 8 minutes to go, 6-3 on shots in favor of Tampa Bay. This 4th game we're playing out for you to start February of 1994. Bill Clinton was president. This was the year that, 1994, they would have played Super Bowl 28. Dallas beat Buffalo 30-13. In 94, of course, was the year of the O.J. Simpson debacle. Rob DeMaio scores, and the Lightning have tied it up. Bradley and somebody else I forgot to remember on the assists. It's the year Houston won the NBA Finals, and nobody won in Major League Baseball because that was the year of the strike that ended their season without a winner. Fighting, Lavoie and Ruckty were on the fight card, so they will sit 5 minutes. It was the year that Michael Moore beat Evander Holyfield for the heavyweight championship of the world. Or at least the title everybody was paying attention to, but George Foreman would beat Michael Moore at the tail end of the year and again be heavyweight champ. It happened. It happened. Second period, with the great Jim Lampley calling that fight on HBO. That's what he said after Foreman won the crown. Who will get the next goal here in this game? Tampa Bay will. Creighton assisted by Kavanoff and Hartman, and it is 2-1 in favor of Tampa Bay. Second period had just begun. They were 47 seconds into it when that goal took place. Let me think of other news. The Buccaneers signed every starter from the Super Bowl winning team that just won Super Bowl 55 against Kansas City. So a lot of the experts thinking that Tampa Bay will repeat as Super Bowl champions. I'm not so sure, even though I am a Buccaneer fan true and true. Lavoie says au revoir as he gets 2 minutes for kneeing a Tampa Bay player. And the next goal, which is going to be another critical goal here, if it goes Tampa Bay's way, they have a 2-goal margin. They do. Salmoner assisted from Hodge and Crossman, 3-1, Tampa Bay. And we have another scoring chance. Can the Lightning get this? They do. So Tampa Bay with 4 in a row. Kavanoff again, assisted by Varetsky and Biro. 4-1 Lightning. Immediate penalty against Ken Hodge. So Ottawa comes right back with a scoring chance. I was just watching on YouTube before I did this video with you right now the series of fights that Floyd Patterson and Ingemar Johansson had. So that was an underrated trilogy, as those guys could go back and forth with each other. In the third fight, they just both took turns against each other. So can Ottawa rebound after giving up 4 in a row? They do. Carlisle assisted by Yashin and Hull, and it is 4-2 in favor of Tampa Bay. Still, they lead in shots 20-10. Zamner a good game. Bergevin a good game so far. He's up to 70 in the game rating. So Bradley a little off his game. He's at 67 right now. Shots are 21-11. Ottawa, of course, for many years they had the Rough Riders of the CFL, and they folded, and they have an expansion team now. I think they are called the Red Blacks, but of course the CFL did not play last year at all due to COVID. And sportsmanlike conduct. Bradley, you're picking up too many penalties, son. I'm calling him son, but he's probably older than I am. 4 minutes now, just about, in the second. 22-12 on shots, 22-13 on shots in favor of the Lightning. 22-15 now. Peter Vilk called for interference, so the Lightning now have a power play. They were even strength for a few seconds. Hartman, they give it right back up. High sticking for 2. So they'll be even strength. And then Ottawa will have a power play for about approximately 40 seconds. 2 minutes, actually we're down to the last minute of the second. 22-16 on shots, that's how it will end. Tampa Bay with 4 in a row before Ottawa could score. It's 4-2 as they drop the puck for the third period. Tugnut has been the hot goalie. He has been in goal most of these games we have been playing. Vilk again for holding. Tampa Bay on the power play yet again. Although they don't get a lot of goals via the power play. What else went on in 1994? Well, I think I've exhausted everything I could think of in sports. Thinking 94 was the year Joe Montana went to Kansas City. How you doing, Luke Brown? 14 and a half minutes gone by. Luke Brown, I want to congratulate him on returning to the United States of America. 13 and a half. 13 minutes now left in the third period. Good old USA, and God bless it. Jody Hull called for boarding. See what else I could think of that was in the news. Miley Cyrus, for some reason, they decided to have a concert in between the Final Four games, and Miley Cyrus was the performer, and she did a lot of her remakes, and only did one of her own songs, Wrecking Ball. Zomner called for charging. We hope Ottawa does not hit the goal like a wrecking ball right now. Tampa Bay leading 4-2 from this game from February of 94. And Miley Cyrus was also one of the performers in the pregame show of the Super Bowl here in Tampa. So Cyrus, if there's a sporting event, Miley will probably be at it. 7.5 to go. If you had her on at the end of the Final Four, she probably would have sang "It's a Heartache," which she has been dabbling with singing. Under 4 to go. If you've been watching some of her live YouTube videos, under 3 to go. She loves doing the covers. 2 minutes to go. In the third, Lightning are going to hang on here. We'll watch to see if Ottawa pulls the goalie But first, Stu Grimson picks up a slashing penalty, so Tampa Bay will have a man advantage, and that pretty much they pull the goalie now. 42 seconds. They go back and forth between pulling the goalie and not pulling the goalie. This game ends, and the Lightning get off the schneid and win 4-2. Kavarov, Carlisle, Hodge were the stars of the game. And this is the first time they played since December 30th of 93. Tampa Bay won that. And it's 3 in a row Tampa Bay has beaten Ottawa. So the Lightning now 4 games within the 500 mark. They're up to 51 points. Should we take a look and see how the Olympics are going? We shall. We're going to take a look at that real quick. At this point, they have played one game. Everybody has played one game. The United States lost theirs 5-2 to Italy, of all teams. So it's too early to say who is good here, but we'll just keep an eye on it. And we're going to take you back, if I can, I hope I can, to the old NHL. And we'll show you the standings there. And we'll play the games out. Or as they would say in Canada, out. That took place. What a wild game between Washington and St. Louis. They went to a 6-6 overtime tie. Shanahan picked up 3 goals in that game. Anderson about to come back for the Lightning. Ramford re-signs with Edmonton. The Stars and the Ducks trade players, 4 players, 2 each. Presley out from suspension. Anderson could be back sooner rather than later. So Vancouver comes to the Dome, and the Lightning will play them. And that'll be our capper for this series of games, this episode of the FHM 7 Birth of the Bolt series. Recording this April 5th. McLean in goal for the Canucks. This was the year that in real life they made the Stanley Cup and lost to the Rangers. Tugnut, the hot hand in goal right now for the Lightning. He will stay. Pavel Bure is the best player on Vancouver right now. 28 goals, 29 assists, 57 points in that. Plus gaudy plus minus of 20. So let's drop the puck and we will play out this game at the Thunderdome between the Canucks and those wild jerseys of theirs against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay getting the first few shots. Tugnut, hot goalie. He must be the number 1 goalie right now. Has overtaken John Casey probably for that honor. And the change has done the Lightning good. High sticking against Courtnall. Tampa Bay will get the power play first in this contest. And I could easily conceive that with the Lightning playing so well, there would be 30,000 people in Tampa for this game. But they have to improve a little bit. Nedved charging 2 minutes, so Tampa Bay now a 5-on-3. Yes. Hammerlick gives it right back up, though, so we're even strength, and then Vancouver will get power play for a few nanoseconds. 4-2 on shots in favor of Tampa Bay. 8 minutes into the first period. So we were talking about this in the last episode. The Olympics in '94 were in Lillehammer, Norway. And this was the year where the Winter Olympics were played 2 years off from the Summer Olympics. Of course, COVID has changed all that. They're going to try to play the Olympics out for 2021. It'll be the first time I can ever remember. Probably the first time, going back to the games of ancient Greece where they have played an Olympics in an odd-numbered year. Of course, next year you get the Winter Olympics, and you also, in the fall of 2022, you get the World Cup in Qatar because otherwise it would be too hot to play. Interference against Kenny Janssen, so I believe that's going to give not Washington, but Vancouver a power play, and it does. I'm sure in the ancient Greek Olympics they probably had the Olympiad in an odd year. Hooking against Adam Creighton. That would be something I would love to learn a little bit more about, is how the Olympics of ancient Greece was different from that of modern times. Of course, there were some differences, obviously. Pavel Bure assisted by Trevor Linden, and it's 1-0 Canucks. Canucks are going to be a very dangerous team for the Lightning to play. Lightning are 2-2 in this 5-game block, so they might have to dodge a bullet to get out of here with a tie. Not as hot as they were to start 1994 in our last episode. Last few seconds, and it's 12-9 on shots in favor of Tampa Bay, but the Canucks have that big goal on the board. And of course, they didn't have professional athletes in the ancient Olympics. Well, in a way, they would be professionals because there were no amateurs. And the Greek Olympians, of course, like to wear a lot less clothing. We'll just leave that alone. They had a sport that resembles UFC called Pankration. And they also had a sport that resembled professional boxing, or boxing in general. Of course, in the Olympics nowadays, you have amateur boxing, and you have both freestyle and Greco-Roman wrestling. And the women now participate in both boxing and wrestling. Imagine if you had that in the ancient Olympic times. I'd be like, sign me up to go back and travel in time to that. Thank you very much. Under 9 to go, second period. It's 1-0 in favor of Vancouver. Would like to do some of these videos live, but my present situation is not accounting for that right now. Birdquist called for interference, so Washington, who could score with the best of them, and it has the power play halfway over with now. Five minutes left to go, second period. Still a very quiet 1-0 game. Zomener, Bradley, the outstanding players right now for Tampa Bay. Down to about 2 minutes. Shots are 19-15 in favor of the Lightning. And the way my screen is getting a little darker, we have just crossed 6 o'clock here on the East Coast. Which is my little mental note to turn on channel 31 here on my cable system to the Bally Sports channel, and I can watch the Lightning. Not the Lightning, but the... Oh, we have a goal right off the bat in the third period. Creighton, assisted by Ramage. 8 seconds was all it took, and it's 1-1. Going into the start of period number 3. So just like that, the Lightning get on the board and tie the game. How about that? And the rules of the NHL during this time, if they played 3 periods and the score was a tie, then they would play a 5-minute overtime, no shootout afterwards. It's just if anybody scores, that's the game. If anybody doesn't score, then it goes into the books as a tie. I'm not a big fan of the shootouts in the NHL because, you're doing them all season long. Goal for Vancouver. I nearly said Washington again. Bure assisted by Linden and Courtnall. So advantage Canucks leading 2-1. I'm not a big fan of the shootout, by the way, in hockey, because it doesn't really serve a purpose, and it's not something you could do in the playoffs. I would just rather they played a 5-minute overtime or not, and you just call the game a tie if nobody scores. This notion everybody has to win the game in the NHL, not always the way it used to be, and kind of ignores tradition. Just like in the NFL, if the game was tied in the regular season, it would be a tie. And I'm surprised the NFL never eliminated overtimes in the regular season. It would make for interesting coaching decisions. Vancouver scores again as Ronning and Duck hook up. Ronning with the goal, Duck with the assist. Gerard Duck or Duke 3-1. So the Lightning have to get busy here. Of course, they're playing tougher teams at the start of February than they did. I think they did in January. Just thinking off the top of my head. I'm surprised the NFL didn't get rid of overtime in regular season games because, if a team wants to win, maybe they're down 7, they score a touchdown. You always have that option for going for 2 if you want to win. And I just think, overtime should be special and overtime should only be used in the playoffs. Baseball's always had extra innings, so I don't blame baseball. Of course, they played around last year with the runner at second rule in the 10th inning, which they have not kept this year. Which I kind of liked. It kind of grew on me. Of course, but baseball being the bunch of stuffy traditionalists that they are, they did not keep it. And that's the game. 3-1. Vancouver has defeated Tampa Bay. So Tampa Bay went 2-3 to start off February, and we're going to sim out the rest of the games when we come back at you next week. They're at 51 points. They're 23, 28, and 5. We'll take one last look at the standings and see where they are. And at 51 points, they're still ahead of 4 teams, so they're 10th. Then they got a little work to do to make the playoffs. We will look at the Olympic tournament one more time. Everybody has now played twice, and it looks like as I look at this, that the United States ain't going to make it. They're 0-2. Shall we take a look at the United States? Can we look at the United States' roster? Not seeing any names that stick out on it. And that's going to do it, folks. We'll keep you posted next week on the Olympic tournament that is going on concurrently with this 93-94 NHL season. This has been Big Paulie coming to you, wishing you well, Godspeed, and God bless. Thank you very much for being with us these last 63 minutes or so. We'll do it all again soon. Bye-bye for now, everybody.